before we start with that, let's take a moment and hold space for a second. Gonna be so good. Hey y'all, welcome back or welcome to the Pickle Jar. This is What's the Dill? I'm your host, Mackenzie Pickle. I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I cannot believe it's December already. I feel like this year flies by, but I say that every single year, so it's just time keeps getting faster maybe. I had a great holiday, spent Thanksgiving with my family, and it was super great. I ate some really, really good food, and I saw Wicked this weekend. I'm a little bit late to the party, I understand. I did not have the chance to see Wicked before this past weekend. So I finally saw it, and holy crap. Dude, I sobbed the entire movie. It was amazing. I want to give a little backstory really fast. I love Wicked, and I had mixed emotions when I found out they were making a movie version because, I mean, I'm sure everyone kind of was like a little nervous when they first heard about it. But the more that I saw about it and the more, like, when the trailers came out and there were interviews and all these things, I was getting more and more confident, with, okay, this is going to put some respect on Wicked's name. Like, they're not going to try to undercut anything. Like, they are going fully into this, like, 100% committed. And it shows. So actually, fun fact, I went to New York when I was a freshman in high school with my grandparents and my mom. And my mom and I went to see Wicked on Broadway. That was the show that we picked to go watch together. And I had an absolute blast. Neither of us had seen it, and it was just phenomenal. It was incredible. Like, we were crying in the theater. It was just so wonderful. So to get to see it with my mom this past weekend and have us crying in the movie theater together was really, really sentimental and nostalgic for me, and it just made the moment even more special. So yeah, without further ado, I mean, I guess we should get started. I need part 2 right now. And obviously, like, I know about Wicked. I know the story. It's not like I don't know what happens in Act 2. It's just like, the movie was so well made and so well done that when To Be Continued popped up, I was like, absolutely not, you're joking. We are not having a year-long intermission right now. But we are, and that's okay. That's okay. I can only hope that when part 2 comes out next year, that movie theaters offer like a matinee or whatever where they play part 1 and then it goes right into part 2. Oh my gosh, could you imagine? That would be so good. This episode's going to be just a little bit different. I personally am still processing and holding space for this movie. I'm sorry. If you've seen that, like, please tell me you guys have seen that interview where they're like, she's like, all these people are holding space. Like, and everybody was like, what does that mean? But we're holding space here, okay? We're holding space in the pickle jar for Wicked. What I decided to do is because during the movie, I was like, I'm going to be a good film reviewer and I'm going to just jot down some little notes and points that I want to write. Well, I was so caught up in everything that my notes are a little, como se dice, all over the place. So what I decided to do is to read you my notes. Normally, if I take notes on the movie, like, as I'm watching it, I'll, like, dive through and all this stuff and get back in. Well, I'm still processing, and I will probably still be processing for a long time. I imagine a lot of you who have already seen it and saw it before me are still processing. So I just want to take this opportunity to share what I wrote down and kind of have this conversation. Maybe you can comment back anything you want to touch back on, or if I have a question here. I don't know. I just thought it would be kind of fun for you guys to see what I was writing as I was watching it. Because I'm, like, typing, like, watching the movie and, like, typing on my phone, like, trying not to look at it. So there's a lot of typos. This movie has taken the world by storm. I hope you guys, I know it's different than what I normally do, but let me know if you like it. Here we go. You guys ready to see my raw notes that I took during the movie or hear about them? Okay. My very first point in my notes is tears in Glinda's eyes as she sings opening. So she is upset in all caps. My notes ended up being all caps halfway through. Don't know how that happened, but I was just very emotional, I guess. But I cried like at least 4 times in this movie. Sorry if this episode's all over the place, but like my emotions were all over the place. And I'm still wrapping my brain around it. It was just, oh my gosh, you just have to see it. Like, you have to go see this movie. Glinda, you know, when they're singing No One Mourns the Wicked, which, first of all, opening act, hello, 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 hello. It is so good. And Ariana Grande's voice is absolutely incredible. I am so actually in awe, and this is saying a lot from me with this performance, because when I first found out that she was cast as Glinda, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was like, what? But hearing her process and her talking about it, and even seeing the trailer, I was like, okay. She doesn't sound like Ariana Grande. She sounds like Glinda. Like, she has done the work and transformed, and she really did take care of this role. And I was so thankful and grateful for that. But her voice is just so incredible. But you can hear that emotion in there, and the tears in her eyes when she's like watching the statue of like Elphaba burn. Crazy. Glinda is such a complex character. And like, she's one of the villains. She is. Like, anybody who's like, well, she's not a villain. No, she literally is. Sorry. She learns the same exact information that Elphaba does. And she stays complacent in this system because she's privileged. And she's in this whole system that has benefited her whole life. Like, the wizard system and of privilege has benefited her entire life. So she doesn't take the leap. She doesn't get on the broom with Elphaba. And what's so heartbreaking, like, sorry, I'm just jumping to the end. What's so heartbreaking is, like, Elphaba isn't necessarily angry at her, at least at the end of Defying Gravity. Like, she's singing, and she's like, I hope you're happy, to Glinda. And it's, like, partially kind of like I hope you're happy with what you've decided, but also there's a genuine emotion there of which she's like, she understands why Glinda doesn't go. Glinda doesn't have what it takes to go, and she also, frankly, doesn't want to stop being privileged. And that's a hard thing. I think the reason why people don't want to say, like, Glinda is a villain is because a lot of times we're complacent. You know what I mean? Like, if you're getting benefits from this thing and someone else is like, oh, well, this actually harms me, but you are not affected, that's what being selfless is caring about what other people are going through, regardless of how it affects you. You know what I'm saying? Glinda is selfish, and she does what makes her look better, what makes her life easier, things like that. Like, she even says in the movie, like, she always gets her way. She doesn't like when she doesn't get her way. And her joining Elphaba would change her entire life. She would no longer be popular. She wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? And so it's harder for her to step away from that privilege. And I think that's a difficult thing to look at because, I mean, a lot of times in our lives, you know, we want to help ourselves more than we want to help someone else. And that's a tough thing to admit to yourself. Like, there have been times where I've been more selfish and wanted to do things my own way and not take a step back and be like, okay, well, how can I benefit everyone though? Like, how can I do this? Everyone's done it on whether it's a small scale or a big scale. That's the thing about that character and why she is complex. I don't think she's the main villain. She's not, but she adds into it. I personally think Madame Morrible is the real for real villain, like the mastermind behind all of it, because the wizard is not magical. Like, he is literally just a figurehead. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a puppet kind of, and Madame Morrible is the one with all the powers. I don't know. That's just like my little, okay, whatever. Back to the reading of my notes. I have in all caps. The very next one, Jeff Goldblum opening as wizard. That is it. Guys, it's been stuck in my head since the movie came out. His little part, the little, my dark-eyed beauty. Oh my God. First of all, I get it. Hate to say it, but I get it. I 1,000% understand Elphaba's mother. Because if he knocked on my door and looked like that and was singing like that, I think we all get it. The very next note I have, this is why I also wanted to do this way, so you guys can see my process and stuff and know that sometimes I myself am perplexed, because like the very next note under that is Glinda keeping up fake appearances. So I wrote this talking about when they ask if Glinda was friends with Elphaba, and she's like, yes. Well, I knew her. We went to school together. And she corrects it that way. No, girl, y'all were friends. Y'all were enemies to friends. Okay? That fake appearance. It's just she wants to keep up with this image that people have with her. She really does care about what people think. Very next one underneath, Bach with the little cane that he clicks against his foot. Tin Man is what I put. Because to me, maybe I need to go back and watch The Wizard of Oz, but to me, like, when Bach like brings that little thing down that he has, I put cane. I don't know if it actually was a cane, but he has like this stick thing at the bottom, and he like clicks his foot with it or something and like puts it on the ground and whatever. And I don't know why it reminded me of the Tin Man's axe for some reason, but it did. Maybe I'm the only person that thought that, but I was just like, ooh, here we go. Already starting with this is who this person is. But anyways, also, hold on. Can we talk about how horrible of a person her dad is? Just wanted to throw that out there. Her dad is awful. Elphaba's dad is garbage, trash, terrible. Anyways, but I wrote down, just because I was like, oh, this moment is good. Good writing. Thank you. When she's like around all the new shiz students, and she says, my sister's a perfectly acceptable color. It's after the whole, like, they go up in arms about her being green. And then, like, Galinda's like, I was trying to be nice. Like, I don't even, blah, 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 all this stuff. And then Fanny goes, I don't see color, whatever. And I was like, stop. This is, thank you for the modern day, like, jab at people who say that. Like, I really, like, thank you. Like, the comedic timing was just, like, it was so good. It perfectly shows, like, privileged people trying to defend themselves and be like, well, I don't see color. No, babe, that's not the point. Like, we're supposed to celebrate our differences. But anyways, next note, Madame Morrible covered for Elfie's outburst in the courtyard over Nessa. I really liked that moment. However, now that I've seen the end of the movie, I think that this woman is absolute awful, wicked. She's wicked. Okay, you know what? When she gets on that intercom and she's like, wicked witch. Now, love Michelle. Do not love Madame Morrible. You feel? All caps. The wizard and I, question mark, speechless. Literally, absolutely, like, no notes. No notes at all. Cynthia, I need you to win this Oscar, okay? I need you to EGOT. I need Cynthia to EGOT, okay? This song alone. I just had to make sure you really heard that, okay? And then I put the wizard mural getting destroyed to reveal animal rulers, like, during her little magical outburst. It's a circle, and it has, like, the wizard, like, carved into it at shiz. But when she has her little outburst, the thing falls, and it has 3 animals, like, scholars, holding stuff. Like, foreshadowing that the wizard is covering up, and he's taken over from the animals already. Like, we're finding that out that early. It's such a good detail. Okay, then I have wordplay and lyrics that foreshadow Elfie's fate in The Wizard and I. One day, there'll be a scene that's, like, all for her. Well, there was, and it was them chanting to, like, her, you know what I mean? I'm gonna run through some of these a little faster. The comedic timing is wonderful. It was so good. It just so good. Choreo is amazing, truly breathtaking. Specifically, what is this feeling choreo? Insane. Arguably might be one of my favorite numbers as, like, a whole in the entire movie. I'm gonna read this exactly like Galinda, he explains why he can't pronounce it, but she doesn't care. But Elfie related to his hurt. Part of that was in all caps. I hope you could tell that. Like, because she's like, Professor, it's Linda for the goat professor. And he's a goat. Like, he can't Linda, like, without being like, Linda. Like, that's what he does. And he literally explains to her why he can't say Linda like she's wanting. Like, he physically cannot say it because of the makeup of his mouth. He starts talking about the serious thing about, like, the animals and, you know, all that stuff, whatever, and them trying to be silenced and everything. And then when Galinda raises her hand and he, like, calls on her name again, she's like, Galinda, and, like, repeats it again. And I'm like, girl, he just told you why he can't. Your name being pronounced correctly is not crucial right now. He is talking about something that is detrimental to him and his life. I totally 100% was like, when Elfie, like, speaks up and she's like, your name being pronounced blah blah blah, thank you. Fiyero and Elfie, good chemistry, and he's not used to people rejecting him. Also didn't care she was green. Literally, that moment was so good. I love their back and forth. All caps. Fiyero the flirt. I had butterflies, bruh. Literally, anytime Jonathan Bailey was on the screen, I was like, this man, perfect casting for Fiyero. Fiyero, like, I have no words. I just sat there beside my mom and was like, like, I can't, especially Dancing Through Life. Hello. Dancing Through Life. I put in all caps, dancing with the teacher. That moment was crazy. Like, spinning the teacher around and, like, getting close to her and everything. I was like, oh, can I be her? That whole number and just the character Fiyero in and of itself, I love his character because it's so much more complex than, like, the surface. It is just so good, and Elfie sees right through him. It's just so good. Oh, sorry. Last Fiero note. All caps. Literally fell in love with Fiero is what I said. Bach is a rule follower. Fiero isn't just like Elfie. Fiero like cosplays as a rule follower. She explains that too. She's like, I don't think you actually are that shallow. And he's not. He doesn't think that he can bring about any change or stuff like that. At least that's how I took his character. That's what he's saying is like nothing matters. But if you just know that and don't care too deeply, then life's so much easier for you. Which is true. If you care really deeply, you're going to be sad and you're going to want to fight for things and it's going to be hard and all this stuff. And it's very interesting. And I love that Elphaba can clock that so easily in him. Then I have Glinda only helps others if it makes her look better or helps herself. Bach and Nessa Rose. Also, Glinda calling Bach Bick. Like, she doesn't care about him and he's in love with her. And it's so sad. She literally gets Bach to go ask Nessa Rose and it's like, you'd be my hero if you did this, whatever. She knows that he likes her. It's not that she wanted Nessa Rose and Bach to be happy. It's that she didn't want Bach trying to flirt with her anymore because she wanted Fiero. Wicked Witch of East shoes, bruh. Those were crazy. And the fact they kind of look like tornadoes too, insane. And a nod to the original book describing the shoes as silver, not red. Awesome. Bach and Nessa Rose at Ozda, stop. That was I have so many mixed feelings. I think he likes her, but he loves Glinda. Like, he's in love with Glinda, but he likes Nessa Rose. That, personally, for me, I'm like, I don't want to be with somebody that is not in love with me. Like, if you're in love with someone else, then don't be with anybody else, you know? And he should have confessed and told the truth, but he didn't. Dance sequence at Ozdust, Elfie crying, I'm crying. That whole little thing with Elphaba and the witch hat and then Glinda stepping out and does that was such a pure moment. And I saw somewhere that someone said that Ariana Grande didn't actually learn the choreography in that little part when they're at the Ozdust so that it would be more authentic when Elphaba is like teaching her the rest of the steps. Stop. Method. Thank you. I was sobbing. Me and my mom were crying when they were doing that. That moment is so heartwarming, and it's hard for me because I'm like, it seems like Glinda is being selfless, like, because she normally would just laugh along with everyone else but Elphaba. She feels bad because everyone is laughing at Elphaba because Glinda gave her that hat. Like, if she wouldn't have that hat on, then no one would really be laughing at her, you know what I mean? Like, it's Galinda's fault. When Elphaba literally went to Madame Morrible and put in a good word for Galinda, because that's all Galinda wanted, and Galinda didn't deserve it. She literally was making fun of Elphaba. So it's like, I feel like she does this because she feels guilty, but it also is a sweet moment between them, like actually kind of becoming friends. All caps. Popular, so good, and all the clothing gadgets and ruby red slippers. Ariana Grande's little version of Popular, the little right is so good. Like, all of the little nuances, everything. It was just so, I think she plays that character very well. And then the ruby red slippers nodding back to the movie is just, it's cool too. Oz propaganda after Goat Professor is taken. How they came in and like they show some, like, it's straight up Oz propaganda about the wizard and them being like, animals don't need to talk, let's silence them. That whole thing, crazy. Is this why the lion is cowardly? Question mark, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, in the cage. Like, that is the cowardly lion. Be so for real. And then I put the Poppy's putting everyone to sleep except Fiero because he's the scarecrow. She doesn't put Fiero to sleep, but that's because he's the only other person probably that actually cares, you know? And so then they run off and do all this stuff. But it's also such a cool detail because in The Wizard of Oz, the scarecrow is the only one that doesn't fall asleep for the Poppies. Like, details, people, details. Biking scene, all caps. That's it. I'm pretty sure I was talking about, like, in The Wizard of Oz when the Wicked Witch of the West is biking and has that basket on the back with Toto, and Wicked, she has the basket on the back with the lion cup. Beautiful. Mustn't let you get wet. Bruh. Madame Morrible. They are the only two that can melt when water touches them, and so she puts that umbrella over them so that Elphaba doesn't... Fiero wearing the poppy and thinking and the chemistry. I was just so happy that Fiero started thinking. Wearing the poppy and giving it to her. And then when he was like, I haven't stopped thinking about that night or whatever. And Galinda's there and is like, Elphaba and Fiero are having this, like, moment. Like, it's tense. Okay? Like, it's romantically charged. And Galinda is like, yeah, no, I agree. I also haven't stopped thinking about that. It's just the worst. And then she goes and make the whole moment about herself. Galinda to Glinda in solidarity for the goat. Like, come on. I'm so sorry. I keep referring to Dr. Dilliman as the GOAT in my notes. Like, I just wasn't going to type out Dilliman, like, while I'm watching it. But I'm reading them exactly, and I keep saying the GOAT. I'm literally feeding into the Oz propaganda that animals shouldn't speak or that they aren't important by not saying his name. Dr. Dilliman is a GOAT. I know. I'm so sorry. I just shortened it for my notes. I promise I'm not feeding into Oz propaganda right now. Stop. When they get to the Emerald City. Stop. I grabbed my mom's arm so hard. Kristen and Adina. Girl, what are you doing here? I was losing my mind. You can also kind of see in their little performance with the, like, other Oz, like, people, you know, what, like, that whole One Short Day performance that they're, whatever. You can kind of see, like, glimpses of how Kristen played Glinda in her character's performance in this movie, and also how, like, Adina played Elphaba in her little character. Also, the battle cry. Adina did the battle cry. Hello? That, phenomenal. And Kristen, like, slapping Ariana Grande's mouth shut. That was just so fun. Like, that whole little thing was so funny. But also, them caressing their counterpart, like, Kristen going to Ariana Grande and being like, whatever, and then Adina going to Cynthia, like, that just sort of, like, passing of the torch moment, literally, I was sobbing. So, I've seen a lot of people online talking about, like, Glinda must have really disliked Dorothy because she sent her on this whole road knowing there was a monorail train to get to the Emerald City, but she made her walk that whole way. But there's not. The wizard literally is talking about what the future of Oz is going to be like and says that they're going to, like, just build this whole road to go straight to the Emerald City. So in my head, I think that means they took the monorail train away. The only way to get to the Emerald City and to the wizard is the yellow brick road. Because he literally says he wants people to come straight to him. So I don't think that Glinda had the option of telling her to go on this train to the Emerald City, because I think he probably took it away to build the road. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a whole scene about the future of Oz, and he, like, literally talks about making a road so people can come to him. And so I think it can be inferred that the train is gone. But Glinda and Elfie choosing the yellow brick road color, like, choosing the color. Oh, and then I wrote, the wizard can't actually read the Grimoire. Fraud. Anyways, all caps. Flying monkeys, spies for Oz, Madame Morrible, and wizard working together. I mean, Ben knew that, but I just felt like I felt the need to, like, write that down. Best way to bring folks together is to give them an enemy. That's what the wizard says to Glinda and Elphaba. That's why he's doing this thing with the animals and taking away their speech and, like, taking away their positions of power. It's like he's giving the people an enemy so that they'll all come together and they'll focus on that instead of himself. Because when it comes out that he doesn't know anything, he's going to be the enemy, and he doesn't want that, so he's shifting it onto someone else. But that is foreshadowing, because, like, literally right after that, when she's like, no, I won't do this, they immediately do announcements that are like, don't trust this woman, don't trust anything she says, don't do anything, don't listen to her, like, she is going to fill you with lies, even though Elphaba knows the truth and is going to be telling them the truth, because the best way to bring people together is to give them an enemy. If they can paint her as the enemy, then nothing will change in Oz. They won't believe her. They'll be like, well, the wizard and them already said that she was the enemy and that she's going to be lying and stuff. Why would we listen to Elphaba? It's because they're making her the enemy so that they won't be blamed for anything. So that when the truth does come out, they still come out smelling like a rose because, oh, Elphaba is just a liar and she's an enemy and she's wicked. It ticked me off, but it's like, it's true. He literally is like being like, this is what's going to happen. And it does happen. Like it also wrote down a note about like how Madame Morrible says like to Elphaba at one point with the wizard, like do good for yourself. Well, Elphaba's view of doing good for herself is doing good for all people because she's selfless and she's truly good. And she takes the word good as actual good. And Madame Morrible means it when she says do good for yourself. She's meaning set yourself up well. Don't think about other people. Do good in front of the wizard so that he will reward you. And Glinda has the same view of good as Madame Morrible. Like, let's be honest. When Elphaba's leaving and Madame Morrible looks at her and she's like, do good for yourself and get her back. That basically means we will reward you if you bring her back and you stay on our side. Like, that whole thing, crazy. Crazy. I have one comment about Defying Gravity, and it is cried the whole time during Defying Gravity. Like, Absolutely stunning. Cynthia, please, you need the Oscar. You have to have it. Like, Defying Gravity, I was sobbing so hard. The emotion and her everything about Defying Gravity was absolutely phenomenal. I have no words. That's why all they said was I'm crying. Oh my gosh, it was just so good. It was so good. Exceeded the hype, if I'm being so honest. And the last note I have is Madame Morrible accepting Glinda because she'd be a follower, not because she'd be a good witch. Because the whole time, Madame Morrible is like, I don't have faith in you, Glinda. I don't think you should be in my class. The only reason you're in here is because Elphaba said. Because Elphaba has the actual, like, true, rare gift that Madame Morrible talks about at the very beginning. Glinda doesn't. But once Elphaba gets on that broom and starts defying gravity, Madame Morrible hugs Glinda and is like basically saying that this is going to be her new person to like rise up because she knows Glinda is not going to go against her and Glinda's going to be complacent. I need part 2 right now. This movie exceeded the hype for me. I thought it was phenomenal. It's certified delicious, y'all. It is certified delicious, 5 out of 5 stars, like no notes. We are thriving. But also, we are very, very emotionally spent after watching it. Thank you so much for watching. If you didn't get to see Wicked, go see it. You have to see it. It is a must-watch. It is so good. My Pickles pick for this week is Please Come Home for Christmas by the Eagles. It's December. I have to give you a Christmas recommendation, I feel like, and because I've started listening to Christmas music. Don't even play with me. This is such a good Christmas song, and it's so, I just love the Eagles. They're awesome. I listened to this with my mom over the weekend. It was just, it was so good. So I'm asking you guys to listen to it. It's a sad one, but it's a good one. It's a really good one. That's all that I have for you today. Again, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you want me to review next. Also, let me know what you thought of Wicked. Let me know how you're doing after seeing Wicked. Let me know how much space you're holding for Wicked. But again, thank you so much for watching. Time to close the jar. Bye!